Gundam AGE-1 Normal. Hey again, Robert184, 2Rs2Bs, gundam.tk. Great to have you here as I continue my look at the Gundam AGE-1 Normal. If you saw the earlier part, you've seen that the parts are very impressive with articulation points all over the place. Lots of neat techniques, but at the end of the day, it's the mobile suit that matters, so let's put this together and see how it stacks up. Spinning into view is the 30th lead Gundam, the first lead of Gundam Age. It's the AGE-1 Normal, and I have to say that my first impression is a little bit underwhelmed. First, to go back to the color scheme, the RX-78-2 did this color scheme and did it best. And here you've got something which is just sort of a modern take with a big white part on its chest with a little bit of a green glowy sticker, which isn't a bad thing. But without the lack of backpacks and wings and things that we've gotten used to, especially in after 2000, this one comes across as being a little bit plain. Now it's going to look better once it's weaponized, but I do like the way that they took the classic scheme and just sort of modernized it. You've got gray parts sticking out all over the place, and that's usually a good thing. The black part just breaks up the monotony of the legs. I may have overlined the face a little bit, but the yellow vents look good, as does the spoilers on the back, somewhat surprisingly. But what do you think? I think this is very much going to be in the eyes of the beholder. What can be said objectively, though, is that this thing can pose very, very well. First of all, you're able to bring the legs up this much. These side skirts can twist out of the way if you choose. They can bend up this much as well. So you can do the full splits. You've already seen that you can bend the legs at 90 degrees and that the ankles are going to go all over the place, though at the cost of dislodging this ankle protector down here. Remember that you are going to have full control over the hips here. You're able to bring the hips up there, rotate these all around, pivot the hips front and back, as well as move them up and down, similar to the Nobel Gundam. Really, there's nothing that this lower body can't do except keep the top part on. I think you could twist this thing into a pretzel if you chose to. To the upper body, where you're going to be able to spin it all the way around if you so choose, but it's more interesting that you've got that ball joint there inside so that you're able to move the chest and torso around a fair bit. No moving parts on the front of the chest, but the shoulders again can go up and down, and they can also pivot this far forward, not very far back, but the shoulders can spin this way, they can rotate, and you're going to get that big bend here. So you could reach across, and he could actually put his hand on his back. He can also scratch the small of his back if he's itchy. For height comparison, you can see the HGUC Jesta, whose review you can check out on gundam.tk, and this is 19.3 meters, I believe, and is substantially taller than the 18-meter tall AGE-1 Normal. And I just have to say right off the hop that one thing that I'm really keen about with this AGE-1 is the fact that it's actually going to change height when it's in its Sparrow and Titus modes, which is something I look forward to seeing on my shelf when they're all beside each other. For something a little more similar in size and stature, we've got the first grade Exia here to the right, which is more analogous to the advanced grade AGE-1, which will be coming out shortly, and pretty much the heights, the tops of the head seems to be about bang on, minus the broken V in here. Arming the AGE-1 just involves taking the Dodge rifle and popping off the manipulator cover there and just putting it inside, and you'll notice that you're actually going to have, it's not gripped in there necessarily, but because it's got that part on the top and the bottom, it just seems to be a lot more snug and firm than a lot of HG beam rifles can be. When it's armed up, my initial impression doesn't change too much. I've got the shield just here on the back of the forearm just to show how that works. The Dodge rifle, again, just because it fits in the arm so well, is impressing me more than I thought, but the fact that we get the white, blue, and gray is certainly good when the shield is facing backwards. When you pop off the hand here to switch this forearm grip and put the shield onto the side, you'll notice that it's going to have a little bit of trouble just fitting around there. But overall, the effect, very RX-78-2-ish. I don't know what else to say. It's got that little bit of extra there in the place of beam sabers. It's got the spoilers, and again, this is going to be in the eye of the beholder, but I like the colors of the shield, and the Dodge rifle looks good. So far, hopefully when it's posed well, that's going to make a difference and make this look even cooler. To start with the looking down the barrel pose, first of all, you should be able to pull off pretty much any pose, especially with the lower body, because the legs are going to allow you to go anywhere. The beam rifle, it's held in place well, but it doesn't give you all the freedom that you'd like when it goes around there. but the open manipulator and the shield and its ability to spin, you could rotate that into whatever position you want, seems to work pretty well and is something that I think you'll probably want to display at some point. Ever since I first saw the box art though, this is the pose that I wanted to see. 1200 yen, high grade, and it can bend a heck of a lot better than the master grade ground Gundam, and that was its main selling point. Now this isn't perfectly done, I'm sure you could do a better job with a little bit of patience, but just the fact that you can get the legs and bring the ankles forward while still having the legs bent at about a 135, very, very impressive. For a ground-based beam saber pose, I'm not necessarily trying to make this look cool, just trying to show you that there's not much that you can't do with this, and you can actually give somebody, like let's say Fei Long in Street Fighter 4, a run for his money here. Being up on an action base by just popping up that gray cap on the bottom, this is ported from the HGFC Nobel Gundam. Again, you can get the legs anywhere you want and the arms move pretty well too. I have to say that this is going to look pretty good in no matter which pose you're going to put it on, especially aerial. To mix it up, you can switch out the beam sabers for the shorter beam daggers. Again, you get the two. I do like the depth that those jetpacks are going to add on. The black on the knees is growing on me. The shield, the fact that it can rotate with that hand and have the dagger come forward, whether it's up or down in the hand, again, is something that seems to work. You're going to get too many posing possibilities. I don't know how many times that I've already said that in this video. With a lot of Gundam shows in the opening sequences, they'll have an iconic pose, and you can think of all sorts of different ones. I'm thinking Ailstrike here, but in Show 2 from Freedom and things like that, I wonder what the AGE-1, especially the normal, if it's going to have an iconic pose. Probably not something that I would be able to create, but hopefully something I could copy from somebody who does a better job of posing these things in manuals or around the box. Do you remember that pretzel I was mentioning earlier? Yes, it's very, very feasible. So there you have it, the mobile suit. You've seen pretty much everything you need to see, hopefully, for you to make a decision as to whether this is something that you would want to consider putting together and displaying on your shelf. And then I guess it's just a question of which one of the many poses will you use. Anyway, everybody, stay tuned for my next part where I run through all the good and bad things so you can make your own decisions. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think down below. See you next time. So I hear you like Kung Fu Masters. Is it the flexibility by any chance?